What you're about to watch is an in-depth look at the very real problem of human trafficking here in the Carolinas.
While you're going to see a lot, we want you to know there's a lot we can't and won't show.
Now, these are real victims involved, real people, and in one case, a real teenage girl whose life is now changed forever.
We are committed to covering this sensitively while also shining a spotlight on this crisis and the crime of human trafficking.
They're pulling up to the front now.
Timble. That's going to be her. UC's on the phone with her now.
The sheriff has said in all of his time, he has not had one case of human trafficking.
She got out of a car by herself.
All right, they've got contact.
Anybody that accompanies the girl is to be detained. They are not to leave.
We're with the sheriff's office. We're doing an investigation.
We're not here to get you in any kind of trouble or anything. We just want to talk to you, make sure you're safe and you're okay.
He'd hit you.
Yeah, I want some help.
She's walking to the door. All right, guys, she's in the room, and the takedown has been done. She's 17.
She's entered missing in NCIC.
If she refuses any services, he threatens to beat her up. She said he choked her last night.
Any help we can provide this young person is what we're here to do.
Rowan County's never had a charge like this.
We want to get a snapshot of human trafficking and trafficking in Rowan County.
I've messaged at least 3 so far. He says that they're ready to meet like today.
It says 13 suspected juveniles.
They're basically just an advertisement for escort services. It's hundreds of dollars at a time, and it's for sexual acts.
We would just basically just kind of try to act like you're actually trying to solicit their services, but ultimately we're trying to get them to come meet with us.
The human trafficking aspect of it, you're not gonna find them until you meet them,
And talk to them.
this is the only way to meet them.
We're not really concerned about an adult woman that is consenting with an adult male. Even though that is against the law, that's not our focus. We're not necessarily looking to charge the ladies. We may not charge a single one, even the ones that show up. But we hope to gather information from them, make them be comfortable. Do you know of any ladies that are being trafficked? Even though you may not be, can you help us find some victims that may be that we can help? So this is really what we're looking for. We're not looking for the arrest, we're looking for information. We're looking for a snapshot, a picture, so that we can know what's going on in our community.
Why is this operation so unique from what you've done in the past?
You can't find anybody that has any experience in this. So our detectives are up there they're learning as they go. They're putting on this mission, this operation, and they're literally, like you saw, walking through it, talking through it as they go in initial stages, because there's nobody to show them this. There's very few people that have this type of experience.
Once they come in the door, then the takedown team's gonna come in and search her and make sure everything's okay.
So anybody that accompanies the girl is to be detained. They are not to leave. They will detain them until we can confirm if there's appropriate charges for them or not.
We wanted to make sure that we did it as safe as possible, not only for us, but for them.
Right now we have a camera in the hallway and a camera in the room at the moment, so that we see when our suspect came into the room, so that we know when to move in, know what we're expecting, or kind of have an idea of what's happening in the room before we actually go in. Several units that are outside in vehicles watching for the outside to let us know when they arrive.
Okay. If he's surrounded by the
I was the undercover officer responsible for meeting these individuals that we communicate through online. Essentially just meeting with them, speaking with them, and getting in the hotel room for the takedown team.
Just put our clothes on now, getting ready to head this way.
The adrenaline kicks in. You're trying to make sure everything goes smooth, but you gotta try to play it cool and calm, and not try to alert what you're actually doing there.
You just gotta prepare yourself for best case and worst case scenario. She's walking to the door.
We took officer safety very seriously. We had people inside and outside. We had people in the lobby. Just making sure that from start to finish we had eyes on whoever was there.
Hey, we're with the sheriff's office. We're doing an investigation.
Once they did show up, we could detain them and make sure they didn't have a weapon, and then back down and let them know, hey, we're not here to ruin your life. We're here to help you and to make sure that you get resources. If you want them, we're here to give them to you.
We're just trying to find victims of sex trafficking and things like that. And we're also wanting to try to help people get out of this situation. We want to offer you some services or give you a way to do something else.
Human trafficking is the exploitation for profit of a person for services, labor, or commercial sex through the usage of force, fraud, or coercion.
Basically, someone being forced to do something against their will.
It's what I would consider activity that's happening in plain sight. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, it's happening way too frequently.
Not only is it real and it can happen here, but it is happening here.
It's happening in all of our communities, in all of our towns, and in all of our streets.
Trafficking does not necessarily mean that a child is picked up, moved to another location, and chained to a wall. A lot of modern trafficking happens and a child remains in their community. And so that's why a lot of it goes undetected for a very long time.
She got out of a car by herself.
Sorry, they've got contact. She's inside. They're going into the stairwell.
She said she typically does at least 2 clients a day.
I remember I asked her what her birthday was, and that's when she told me the year was 2007, and I had to make her repeat it because I didn't believe it.
Hard. I put it back and I just think of what's important to the people that I'm helping.
We've got somebody that said they would arrive about 5:15, so we're looking at about 15 minutes from now.
They're pulling up to the front now.
Yeah, 10-4, that's going to be her. UC's on the phone with her now. He's telling her he can come down and meet her.
Started the same way as most of the other ones did, where we're just responding to an ad and you don't really think much of it other than you see photos, you see what they wrote onto their ad, and you're reaching out to them. I don't think anyone really expected it to be a juvenile that was showing up to our door that day, but
Oh yeah, they've made a takedown. She's being interviewed now. Who is?
This juvenile we just took down.
She's 17. So I was on the takedown team when she arrived. I remember I asked her what her birthday was, and that's when she told me the year was 2007, and I had to make her repeat it because I didn't believe it.
And he has her listed as a 19-year-old.
So we were able to get a juvenile to show up. Concerning that, we've only spent about an hour trying to lure somebody here online, and in less than, basically in 1 hour of doing this, we have a 17-year-old show up. And so to me, that sounds like a huge problem. We have to notify parents and find out why this juvenile is an hour away from home, getting a ride and showing up at a hotel for prostitution purposes, and find out if the parents know what this juvenile is doing.
I didn't actually find out until I was already moving over to the other room and we were getting ready to begin our interview, and that was when someone kind of poked their head in and said, hey, she's 16. Oh, I definitely didn't expect it.
We were all prepared for it, but none of us wanted it to be true. I don't think anyone in this world wants it to be true that kids are getting trafficked.
This guy she met at a train station, and he's got a hotel in Charlotte in his name, and everything that she makes through these visits she has to put in his banking account. She never has any money of her own, and if she refuses any services, he threatens to beat her up and this, that, and the other. She said he choked her last night.
And she was being trafficked. I'd say so. I was like, so you're left with, you don't have any money, like, do you have any money in your pocket? She's like, no. She's like, if I need something, he buys the things that I have to have, but he never gives me any money. She said that yesterday he choked her because she kept wanting to walk out of the room. Said she needed some air and this, that, and the other, and kept cussing her. And she's basically not free to leave, you know.
It sounded like she was in a really bad situation. It seemed like she latched on to the first person that she found that seemed like they seemed like they cared. But at the end of the day, she kind of realized that they didn't really care as much as she thought.
Due to this situation here today, you know, you are a juvenile. A lot of things that you're telling us and you're stating pretty much goes along with actual human trafficking, okay?
And we see a lot of things like that just in even domestic cases that we've worked in the past, where these people, they're almost brainwashed, where they're so used to getting the bare minimum that just one step up from the bare minimum, whether that be so minute, it's just life-changing to them. And it was just a matter of just him buying her cookies that was a whole, it made her world just so much brighter, apparently.
He's profiting from the prostitution she's done.
He gets every bit of the money she makes. He gets every bit of that money. It goes into his banking account. But she said she's very glad that this happened today because she wants to go home. She doesn't want to go back. She said she typically does at least 2 clients a day, and he's the one that informed her about the whole app and how to make money because she didn't have anywhere to live or anywhere to go. And so she said that's the only reason she's been doing the things she's doing is to have somewhere to stay.
I just don't want to let her go and then she winds up in the same situation. I'd feel better if we were able to charge him and lock him up at least.
How long has she been with him or doing this?
She said it's been about 2 weeks this time. She said she met him about 2 weeks ago when she was at a train station, and he's the one that told her about the app and how, you know, how the ads work and how she could make money.
See how much money they make?
He said $250.
So 2 clients a day for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Then I said, well, what's the minimum? And she said 2. It's like she don't want to be seen. And she keeps her face covered with that covering, she said, because she's not comfortable with herself and doesn't, she feels bad about herself. I told her she's beautiful, but things like this is hard. I put it back and I just think of what's important to the people that I'm helping then. It's tough at times with emotions. Everyone deserves to be happy, to feel beautiful, to be respected and not controlled, and I just want her to know that she can and have anything that she ever wants or wants to be. You don't have to have a man or anyone to give you those things. You can do as you want in life.
When we actually did find a juvenile that was missing and is the definition of human trafficking based on the state law, it was like a moment of, you know, it was emotional, and I know that some of the stuff that isn't recorded, you know, some of the officers did get emotional, and it's because we care. You know, I mean, I have a daughter and a son, and you know, with my experience of dealing with crimes against kids, I always had trouble going home at night if I ever left anything hanging out, I guess. I always wanted to make sure that every kid, if I had the authority and the power to do something, I was going to do it. And just like in this instance, I wasn't gonna let her slip through the cracks.
Part of the problem is there are so many victims that don't consider themselves victims.
Some people don't realize or want to recognize that they are being trafficked at first. Maybe they consider it to be a romantic relationship.
And the victims actually think that they're in a relationship with their trafficker.
You know, these guys are really good actors, right? So they'll think that the guy has their best interests.
They love me and I'm choosing to do this.
It's often there's trust that's already been built.
And so we're having to help them to understand that the relationship that they think is a genuine relationship truly is not a relationship.
It looks like her hair has like a reddish tinge to it, possibly awareness.
That's her. Copy. She's walking to the front now.
Hello, ma'am. What's the sheriff's office? We're doing an investigation here. I'm sure you know why we're here.
They're taking advantage of weaknesses that they can find and they're exploiting them.
Really, it's designed to be research-based and victim-centered. You know, this is not something that we were looking to make a bunch of arrests out of.
We want to make sure we're not missing something. That's the goal in this, is not really the prostitute. It's the, do we have a trafficking issue and can we help some people?
10-4 is probably gonna be her. She just sent a text saying she's outside. She's walking to the door.
Looks like her hair has like a reddish tinge to it, possibly awareness.
That's her. Copy. She's walking to the front now.
Hello, ma'am. What's the sheriff's office? We're doing an investigation here. I'm sure you know why we're here. Step in here, right here. Step in there.
So 2 from one call, and then another.
Yeah.
All came in
One that was that the first one was at Hutton's, so that was his that showed up, and then the other one was from our sergeant outside, but she ended up showing up with somebody else.
Okay.
And she told him basically when she got here she had somebody with her, so a friend.
I just couldn't believe that it was this easy. You know, you get online and you're chatting within a few minutes, you have communication with someone just on a random site, and then, you know, in an hour they're showing up to your location. Hey, we're with the sheriff's office. We're doing an investigation. We're here to offer you guys help. If you have a problem, we're here to hopefully get you out of this type of work. That's what we're here to try to help you do. We're not here to arrest a bunch of people. We're just here to try to help folks that are maybe being forced to do something like this, or maybe they're doing it because they want to do it. So that's one thing we want to ask you is this somebody making you do this, or are you doing it on your own? So none of these 3 appear to be being trafficked by anybody. They just appear to be doing it because they want to do it. So
once they did show up, we could detain them and make sure they didn't have a weapon, and then back down and let them know, hey, we're not here to ruin your life. We're here to help you and to make sure that you get resources if you want them.
we're here to offer you a way out, okay?
Do you want some help even though you don't have a tent? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yeah, we can get you some resources.
Absolutely.
You kind of can see that some of this isn't by their choice. They're in a position or in a situation where this is their only, for them, they see this as their only way to make a mean of income or just survive. And the whole picture, it is sad because many of these women, you know, they only see this as, I have to do this to get day by day.
Looks like there's a female, black female walking in, red jacket, looks like gray shorts, long dress.
You want to go to the room across the hall, and I'll come out this, and you come out that. You got the key for it?
10-4, have they entered the hotel yet? Make us happy. All right, guys, that was her. Takedown has been made.
We just want to speak with you is all, okay? We're not here to get you in any kind of trouble or anything. We just want to talk to you, make sure you're safe and you're okay.
You're okay.
You know, I've experienced some things throughout life and encountered some great law enforcement officers and some not so great. And so at times I feel like it's necessary for there to be officers out there that, you know, can respect you and you can trust in them and kind of reflect on the same level at times of things that they may be going through, and you can kind of communicate with them effectively in a different way, knowing that you've experienced some of the things that they may have experienced.
My name's Hannah. I work with Channel 9. How long have you been doing this for?
A year.
A year?
Yeah. My friend's been doing it for about 6.
Is that how you got into it, was with your friend?
No. A guy made me introduce me to it.
A guy did?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that?
He made the page for me and just started posting and said it was a way to make money. And if I didn't do it, you know, I'd get hit.
He'd hit you?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you could leave here today and do something that you wanted to do, what would that be?
Go get clean.
Get clean?
Yeah. Get my kids back.
To be very clear, traffickers are smart. Traffickers, they prey on victims. They utilize manipulation.
They're taking advantage of weaknesses that they can find and they're exploiting them.
These, individuals are preying on children that are quote unquote weak, right? They don't have the resources or the safety nets in place.
They then meet this trafficker who's able to provide them with food, housing, and shelter.
A couch to crash on, or hey, I have a hotel room and there's some other kids staying there.
And because they don't have resources, it's easy to, make them promises.
It happens very quickly.
And so the trafficker is telling them, if you report this or you leave this environment, these basic necessities are not going to be met. That brainwashes that victim to think that I have to stay in this.
We got our sheriff's department out at a hotel right now, and there is a young lady that says that she is from Charlotte.
Well, what the hell's a 33-year-old doing with a 16-year-old anyways? See how much money they make?
He said $250. I heard on the phone, he said, well, you got $250 in your pocket now. We had her to make contact with him just so he wouldn't suspect that anything that was going on. But her speaking with him, we were able to gain information. What I want to do is see if you would be willing to use your phone on speakerphone and make contact with him. In order for us to get you away from him, you can say whatever you want. Don't be scared to say whatever you need to say in front of us. Like I said, we're not going to judge you or anything like that, and you're not in any trouble, okay?
I'm just curious of the reason why. Because you went from saying you love me to you're not coming back. I just want you to be honest with me. I don't want you to be nervous to say anything to me. I want you to speak your mind to 100%. That's all I ask for is the truth. Can you just, because the Uber ride I got my account in the negative, can you just send me to that $50? That's it? I'm asking for $50, that's it. You say you're not coming back, so I'm asking, what's your next move in life? And so that's up that I can't get $50. You just made like $250 Phone answer is for $50.
He was just grooming her to make her feel that he loves her, that he cares for her, that he will take care of her. I mean, he has shown that he will give her somewhere to live, somewhere to stay, that he'll feed her. I mean, gives her the bare minimum and helps keep her there.
He's grooming her. I mean, it seemed like from that phone call where it was his last-ditch effort trying to reel her back in, where, I mean, she probably felt like she needed to get away, but he more than likely just thought that if he can try to salvage what he had left, and why not throw a Hail Mary?
I don't feel like she knew she was, in fact, a victim of human trafficking. I know that at times she thought that she was loved, and at one time she was excited that he got her some cookies, and she felt like he was taking care of her and doing for her and gave her a place to live and stay. But then she realized, she stated once there was some abuse occurred, that she was no longer safe.
Did she make the call?
Yeah.
Did he say anything?
Yeah, it's legit. Our concern is where's she going to go when, you
Right.
know, unless we are sure that she's okay. I don't want to put her back in the same situations.
Hey, it's Detective Weaver. I was wondering if you could do like a hit confirmation on a missing juvenile.
If we can get enough to take out warrants, we'll probably take out warrants on him tonight and either get CMPD or we'll go down to the hotel and arrest him.
She said this is her first time going outside of Charlotte for this type of thing.
We are going to get a warrant on the guy that had sent her up here. He's 33 years old.
Well, what the hell's a 33-year-old doing with a 16-year-old anyways?
Yeah, his name is Kadeem Williams.
Well, he's got the ankle bracelet on. Shouldn't that tell us exactly where he is?
We just saved a juvenile. I mean, honestly. There's a juvenile doing this and we stopped it.
Then I stuck around the rest of the evening, went to Charlotte with everybody. It was an overwhelming moment, something I never done in my life. There's a sense of peace that comes along with it, but there's also that I guess voice in the back of your head that if there's one, there's more.
I mean, if that's been almost a week ago now, where she could have gone through multiple different meetings if she never met us, and she could have been robbed, she could have been raped. I mean, who knows? She could have been killed.
The fact that we actually did save a juvenile, it's substantial to us, but we still know it's not about us. It's about her and the hundreds of other girls that are being trafficked.
When you finally encounter somebody that's a true victim and you're working with them and you see, I mean, this is really it. This is here. Human trafficking is real. I mean, it's sad, but you want to do everything that you can to help them and get them out of that situation and pray that they never have to deal with something like that ever again in their life.
Many of these victims are hidden in plain sight.
It happens to males, females, children, adults.
The belief that it just affects girls is not true at all.
Men can be and also are being victimized.
There's also a huge population of gender nonconforming youth as well.
Literally, they can come from any type of home, any type of socioeconomic background, any gender, and any race.
Don't let a stereotype fool you into thinking this person isn't being trafficked or this person is.
Perpetrator Kadeem Williams was located in a hotel or motel in Charlotte area.
Balance your hands up. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Balance your hands up. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
This was a 2-day operation. which involved 21 officers and over 270 man-hours. It's quite extensive. Our goal was to establish if any of these individuals were being trafficked and they're against their will. That was our main concern. And we learned that perpetrator Kadeem Williams was located in a hotel or motel in Charlotte area. That same night, the Rowan County detectives contacted the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, where we have a representative here today, and we're very thankful for their cooperation. That allowed us to be able to rescue the young lady and also get a hold of the perpetrator that same night. So my biggest take back was that if it was that easy for us to find one that fast in just a 2-day operation, it really must be a problem. It reminds me of the old starfish story, you know, when the starfish wash up on the beach and they're throwing one at a time, and the guy says, you're never going to save all these, but you can save one.
That's the most important question, right? Is how do we see? Because often there's a lot of secrecy involved for obvious reasons.
I think the more we can just pay attention to what's happening around us.
Kids who are missing a lot of school, kids who have sudden changes, kids who have kind of just disappeared from their daily lives.
Is this an individual that's being forced not to have any contact with their family or friends?
Another big, sign, are they dating somebody significantly older? Are they 13, 14, but now they're with somebody who's 18, 19? That's another surefire warning sign to address.
The more that we talk about it, the more people in our community are aware about it and they can report it.
Next, 100 more victims in Charlotte, some as young as 11.
On average, a victim of trafficking will be involved in their form of exploitation for up to 2 years before they're ever identified.
The spike in cases, the warning signs, and the things you can do to help. When 9 investigates, The Rescued returns.
101 victims in Charlotte alone. That's a stunning number, and that's from a report compiled by Present Age Ministries, a nonprofit here in Charlotte that works to stop human trafficking and help victims of it. I'm Hannah Getz, and with me right now is Hannah Arrowood, the executive director of Present Age Ministries. As I just mentioned, a stunning number, stunning statistics. Let's talk a little more about that.
Absolutely. I think part of what we are realizing and seeing is that the more that the community is doing to actually put information into the hands of people that could potentially interact with these minor victims, we're only going to continue to see the numbers increase, and we have to be prepared for that.
And that increase is something that's had a major jump in just the last year.
Correct. When we look at the data reports from the years 2020, 21, 22, you start to see a slow, steady increase, but there really was a staggering increase from 22 to 23, over 70% increase. And we get asked all the time, do you think that's because there's more victims, or is it just because there's more awareness? And the truth is we don't know. There isn't this ability to really wrap our arms around why the increase. But part of what we're diligently trying to do is just begin to really understand what's happening here in our city and the surrounding area so that we can begin to answer some of those questions.
And with that number and with that jump, who are we seeing in these statistics? What are the ages? Who are the people?
Yep, so this data report specifically, that 101 is all minors. And the average age was 13. And so when we understand that, it really changes the entire paradigm of what we think trafficking looks like. And these were all Mecklenburg County specific residents. And so when we think about that and the amount of interaction it has across zip codes, across areas, it really starts to blow the paradigm of what we think a victim of trafficking looks like.
And has that age changed recently? Has it gone up or down?
It has. In the previous report, the average age was 14. And so it has gone down. And again, is that because we're identifying sooner? Or is that because they're getting younger? And what we do know that there is research out there across the United States that says on average, a victim of trafficking will be involved in their form of exploitation for up to 2 years before they're ever identified by a professional. Because one of the misconceptions is that these young people are going to ask for help, that they know to self-identify as a victim, and that's simply not the case. I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and we've never had a child self-identify. And so when we understand that, it really is imperative that professionals know what it is, know how to spot it, what to do if they identify it, which is, I hope to think, in my experience, that we're starting to recognize them younger versus them being in that exploitive life for longer periods of time.
And are we talking about minor girls? Are we talking about minor boys?
Yeah.
Who do you see more of?
So statistically, over the last years, we've gone anywhere from 95 to 98% are females. And so we know predominantly the victims are females. We of course know that there are boys that are victims, but there's already a stigma to talk about child abuse, let alone exploitation and trafficking. And so I think it's highly underreported for our boy population. And of course, we know that we have adults that are also victimized. This data just doesn't actually specifically focus on that, just the minors.
And one of the major things that jumped out at me was the map and the graphic of where this is happening. Tell me what you hope people take away from this with those statistics of look at where this is happening right here in our community. What do you hope people at home today learn from that?
To not be naive, that this happens in every socioeconomic, in every neighborhood, in every community. And if you believe that it doesn't happen in your world, that's part of the problem. And so if we can start to understand that traffickers look for those that they can groom and exploit, and the number one way that they access our kids is online. So it doesn't matter where you live. And all of our kids have devices and access to social media and technology. And so that becomes the predominant way of recruiting and grooming. And so when we know that to be true, then that affects all of us. And the more that we can understand that, and the more as parents and adults and community leaders can start to put things in place that would protect and advocate for kids in that arena, then the better off that we're all going to be to see this start to begin to reduce and eradicate out of our city.
She was taken to an area hospital.
I'd love to see her find beauty in herself.
The difficulty is, how do we convince the young people that, one, that they are being victimized, and two, that to seek help and to go after and prosecute the people that are trafficking them.
Who are some people that might be more prone to becoming victims of this?
Yeah, you generally look at our most vulnerable population, and when I say that, a lot of them are 14, 17-year-old kids. You might have runaways who are looking for someone to support and help them. You might have people who are addicted to have drug addictions, or someone who is simply might come into this country that has no other means of survival, so they are able to convince, the suspects are able to convince them that they will take care of them, and that's why I say sometimes they don't even often know that they're being trafficked, because they feel like that someone is their supporter and is helping them, and they're just doing what they have to do to survive.
What can we all do together to help prevent this problem?
I think education is the key. I think you're doing it now. To be able to bring this to the forefront, to talk about it. We can't sit and act like it doesn't happen, but to bring attention to it, educate people, and then also we have to be able to look after our young people to make sure that when they have needs and they're seeking for love and attention, that they don't get caught into this trap.
She was taken to an area hospital that specializes in the treatment and protection of juveniles who are victims of this type of crime.
Yeah, I'd love to see her find beauty in herself and hope and find peace and comfort in life, and not feel that she has to go to men for any kind of help or assistance, that she can do things on her own.
It's not about us, it's about her and the hundreds of other girls and boys that are being trafficked.